Welcome to Stand-Up Comedy Sex Ed. It's where you can get questions answered like,
how long does it take the average man to orgasm?
And
how long does it take the average woman to orgasm?
And also,
why is it so hot in here?
Audiences agree it's brilliantly funny. Raylene makes sex ed fun. This show is entertaining, factual, and relatable.
There's nothing worse than being halfway done with sex and feeling your vagina shut down on you.
You've got to see Stand-Up Comedy Sex Ed.
I am ready to go do that comedy show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to season 2 of the Stand-Up Comedy Podcast, hosted by Raylene Taskoski and some other guest. And today's guest is Alyssa, who is a fan of the show and wrote to me to say that she was enjoying it and she wanted to talk about sex. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm actually excited to be on.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to have you because I'm always just like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just going to stop. It's no big deal. And then somebody like you will message me, and you are the third person to just randomly message me. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess there's a reason I'm doing the show.
Oh, it's a good show. And I never listened to podcasts. I started listening because I was at work and getting bored. And I ran across yours and I was like, oh my God, I love the show. And then I just listened to all of them within a week span. It was pretty hysterical. I came home talking about it and letting everybody know, this is what you should watch. You should listen to.
I got binge listened to. Awesome.
Yes.
I'm like Netflix now.
Pretty much. And I actually, after I finished up, I actually started listening to Undebatable.
Oh, we're funny, aren't we?
Hysterical, actually.
It's hysterical. I freaking love being on that show. It's nice to have, we're all so very different, but we're so funny. God, I mean, I'm recording another one tonight, and there are things that I never want to do. And I don't want to go to the gym. But then when it comes to the podcast, I'm like, I can't wait to get there and just. Bleh.
I can see where it's exciting.
Yes, they're funny guys. Plus, we always drink a bottle of wine, so it could be that I'm looking forward to.
You know what? I can understand. Wine always makes things great.
Right. There was one time somebody accidentally brought Chardonnay instead of Pinot Grigio, and I was like, nope, not drinking it. And they're like, you're just not going to drink it. I'm like, yeah, no, I will not drink Chardonnay. I don't like the taste of it. There's nothing you could do to make it better. It's disgusting.
No, it's nasty. It definitely is.
So they drank it. So then one of the guys got significantly more hammered than usual because he was also drinking my portion of the wine.
Oh, there you go. Doubled up.
Right. I was like, nobody make this mistake again.
No.
So what got you listening? How did you come across it?
I actually was on Google, right? And I needed to find a podcast. And honestly, I heard maybe 2 minutes of some other podcast. I don't remember the name of it. And I was just like, all right, this is shit. I don't want to listen to it. This is shit. So I started Googling and I was like, anything stand up. I actually wrote stand-up comedy, and I seen stand-up comedy and sex ed in one headline, and I was like, oh, this has to be fucking great.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that would work.
It does. I Googled, it came up in Google. So I was like, all right, let's give it a try. I listened to the first episode and that was it. That's all it took.
Yeah, talking to kids about sex.
Well, yeah, because that's actually a big thing and people seem not to do it. Actually, my mom did not talk to me about sex, which is hysterical since she had me at 17. You would think she would have known, hey, let's have the talk so you don't do that.
Yeah, that's honestly, I don't understand people not talking to kids about sex. I think if we don't talk about sex, then it won't happen. And I'm like, what? That's not the case. And there was I was doing one of my parties, and we're not allowed to have kids on the premises. And I'm very specific about there will be no children on the premises. And so this was a house that had a garage that had been converted into an apartment. And they were like, yeah, it's a separate building. It's got a separate address. The kids are all going to stay over there. And I'm like, okay. Well, at some point during the party, I realized that the kids are actually on the stairs. They have snuck into the house and they are listening. And I said to the mom, I'm like, they're on the stairs. I can hear them. They need to go. And one of the moms there said, I would beat my daughter's ass. She knows she's not allowed to have sex. And I just looked and I'm like, yes, fear of parents has stopped kids from having sex throughout the ages.
Oh yeah, it works fantastically, right?
Fantastic. We just won't talk about it. And I'll be like, if you do it, I'll kill you. Come on. And then the
That,
famous joke, what do you call a parent who doesn't talk to their kids about sex? A grandparent.
that's pretty much how it is. I think parents need to stop with that though. If you don't talk to your kids, or if you tell them not to have sex, they're more likely to have sex.
Right.
My mom never had the conversation with me. I learned through friends, which isn't good, right? Because when you're 14, your 14-year-old friends don't know shit.
They don't know shit.
No, they don't. Yeah,
There's
no,
the
my mom.
whole, if you have sex in a jacuzzi, you can't get pregnant. If you drink Mountain Dew, you can't get pregnant. I mean, I've heard some really dumb shit.
So have I. I remember there was years ago there was 50-cent sodas you bought at the store, like these these generic 50-cent sodas, and it was like, oh, if boys drink that, their sperm count is low and you can't get pregnant.
Right.
All right, so we were dumb. We were dumb. We were dumb children. I will say that. Yeah, no, mom never had a convo. Actually, I don't think any of my cousins' parents had their conversation either.
Yeah.
I guess
I
they
had
assumed.
one. My youngest got all of the information but
Oh,
when
there
I
you go.
started, she was 8 years old. So I was like hardcore because I was learning through the company. The company had these great trainings and they had conversations about talking to your kids about sex. It was all part of our, de- personal and professional development. Personally, just learning what would be better. And so my youngest got all the benefit of all the information. And I just always told her, I'm like, don't share this information with anybody else. Don't be that kid that knows everything about sex. Cause I don't want you getting a reputation, but everybody knew what I did. Everybody knew,
Well, there
every
you
kid
go.
knew, every parent knew, it's on my car. Like
It's
my
advertised. That's
license
it.
plate says romance. Everybody knows what I do. And the logo of the company was on my car. I never made a secret of it. And one thing that I would do is whenever a kid would come over to our house for the first time, I would make their parents get out of the car and walk through my whole house with me.
Okay.
Every bedroom, every office space, every living room, down in the basement. Like I dragged them through the whole house. So there could never be any conversation where somebody said, well, she got that from you, or, she saw that at your house. Because anything
Well,
that I
yeah.
had that was sex related, sex toys, sex anything was always put away in boxes. There was never
Okay.
anything out. But I had told her, like, if you hear things that are wrong, then you can correct them. But
Oh yeah.
then one day, like there was one of the moms came. I had a little party at my house, and one of the moms came and like her son said, where are you going? She's like, oh, I'm going to Sarah Taskoski's mom's house. And he goes, what? I know what happens at Sarah Taskoski's mom's house.
Oh geez. Like you were having fucking orgies in your house. I
Yeah.
can't with people. Well, I talk to my son freely about sex. I think that was the best thing to do. Like I said, my mom never had the sex talk. My son's 14. He's at that age, right? I
Okay. Because you
overhear.
look 27. So what the hell?
Well, he's my stepson, but he's 14.
Oh, okay.
I'm 34 though. I'm 34.
Right.
But we talk about sex. He's more comfortable talking to me than his mom, obviously, because I guess
Right.
it's different. But we talk. In fact, one of his friends, their father had told him that if he pulls out in time, he won't get anyone pregnant.
No, all that does is give you a lousy orgasm. You can still get somebody pregnant.
Yes, I also had to sit there and tell him, I was like, first things first, how about STDs, right? We use condoms to avoid that at your age, especially at his age. He's 14, right? You don't know if the girls are a little faster now than when I was growing up. I would have liked growing up in this era.
Right.
The girls are a little more fun now. I mean, when I was growing up, they were a little more tight asses, but I do have the conversation with him. I think it's necessary to have this convo with them. I tell him all the time, I really don't want to be a young grandparent. Not really. That
This
and
isn't, yeah.
He doesn't want to come home and tell me that his penis burns. So, because that'd be embarrassing.
Right. That would be embarrassing. Yeah, I think parents and school districts think if you teach kids about contraception, you're giving them permission to have sex. Well, you don't have to give them permission to have sex. They're going to have it.
Yes.
So you might as well teach them how to protect themselves, not get pregnant really young, not spread diseases. One of my daughters recently got an IUD, and I was like, that doesn't mean you can stop using condoms, right? Because you can still catch an STD.
Yes.
You can, still, like, pregnancy isn't the big thing to worry about. Pregnancy goes away in 9 months.
Pretty much.
You know, yeah, nobody wants to see your swollen vagina 9 months from now and be like, look at my baby herpes. Like,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
pregnancy just is not a terminal illness.
No, but catching an STD, no, that's a whole different story.
I have a friend who actually met her. I thought they were going to be permanent. I can never tell if they're together or not together. But they met on a Facebook group for people with herpes.
Oh, man, there you go.
Because, you already have it, so you can't catch it and you can't really give it to anybody who already has it. So she had to go there. But the statistics on herpes is ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, it's almost like if you don't have herpes now, you're the oddball.
You're the minority if you don't have it, not the majority anymore.
and that's because everybody thinks that other birth control is, oh, that's cool. I've done everything I need to do. And I'm like, no, I'm not worried about getting pregnant. I'm worried about, like, honestly, like, I'm happily married, but if anything happened to my husband and I had to go back into the dating world, wrap that. Mm-mm.
No, yes, always. It's to practice safe sex. I have friends who I grew up with who majority of them have caught an STD. I have not. Yeah. Okay, I've managed, even without my mother teaching me about sex, I have managed to learn that you probably should be safe. I'm also a woman who sleeps with women, right? So ideally, dental dams go a long way. For some reason, my lesbian friends don't understand that, and then they want to know why they end up with something. I'm like, guys, if you're gonna sleep around, you should be protected. I mean, listen.
Right. See, I don't understand the dental dam thing either, but I've also never been with a woman, so.
They're annoying though. They're not fun, but there is another way to avoid getting an STD. Sleep with somebody who you actually know about, right?
Right. Have your tests done, get your testing, and then become fluid bonded with that person and make a commitment. Be monogamous.
Yeah, that would be fun. I think that a lot of my friends don't understand that. It's pretty hysterical when you get the call and it's like, oh, I caught this. And I'm like, well, you kind of met the chick at a bar. I mean, did you really know her? Like, did you know? It's, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Easier when it's a woman sleeping with a man, right? Men slaps a condom on, we call it a day. You can avoid the STD. A woman sleeping with a woman, it's a little more to it.
I don't think people really think about that. Because it's just, I guess I just never have, because I've never been, I don't get it. Yeah, I guess if you're just bumping uglies, it's going to spread.
Pretty much.
Ugh, I hate it when I learn new things like that. Like, now I got a whole new.
That's true. I've always told my friends, like I said, you have to be protected. I normally sleep with women I know. I probably have more one-night stands with men than women, but I try to know them first. Like, I try to know, like, hey, no herpes, no chlamydia, no syphilis. These are not fun.
Yeah, no. I had, and I've never said this on my podcast before. I did have chlamydia when I was 21, but that was, I was, was I 21? 20, 21, like in that age range. Luckily, that's one that goes away. I did learn my lesson. But yeah, that was, I don't even know if I've said that out loud in, Jesus, how old am I? I probably haven't said that out loud in like 40 years, 30 years. Like, I kind of like forget about it. That was back. I often tell people, so my middle daughter, is from a one night stand. And I'm fairly certain I've mentioned that before.
Yes, I've heard it.
I like to call it a short-term relationship.
There we go.
But it was in the 80s, and there was a lot of sleeping around, and there was a lot of one night stands, and there was a lot of other things, but it was also the age of AIDS. And so I have always considered my daughter a gift. She was a gift from God that got me back on the right track, got me home, got me back in college. Kind of one of the reasons that my husband and I wound up getting married, because he just fell in love with her too. And she was the thing that bound us together for a while, because I was just like, I don't know if I want to get married. And he's like, well, let me babysit your daughter while you go out and party, because then he knew I had to come home every night.
Smart
man.
Yeah.
But my point is that I would tell people back when I was, still talked about that part of my life, was I got lucky that I got pregnant, because I could have gotten AIDS.
Well,
I
yes.
could have gotten herpes. I could have gotten murdered. I
Well,
could have
that
gotten
too.
a lot of things. What I got was an amazing, beautiful gift that got me back on the right track. So that's a part of my life that, I mean, I've been married for so long that I don't even think about that very often, but
Oh, yeah, of course.
but I once was at work one time. And so I've got my first daughter from my first husband. And then I've got my daughter that I got from my short term relationship. And then my husband, and I have a daughter. And so I'm at my job one day, and I'm fairly well respected. I do my job. I'm a little bit older than most of the people, but I got my shit together. And these girls are trash talking another girl like she's such a whore. She's got 3 babies and 3 baby daddies, and what a train wreck. And they're just going off, and
Oh,
I'm
geez.
standing there with them, and I was like, and they're like, what? And I was like, she's a whore because she has 3 babies and 3 baby daddies. And they look at me, and I'm just like staring at them. And they were like, oh, to you? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes it takes
Uh-huh.
you a while to get your shit together. That doesn't make you a whore.
No, pretty
Just,
much. And it's a
do I
misconception, right?
recommend
Women,
it? No,
well,
but
it's tough, but women are whores if they have X amount of sex partners, but men can sleep with everybody and it's fine. It's a
right,
misconception. It's a
right.
double
And
standard and
men,
it's not fair.
right. And men can have babies for multiples of women. And
And it's fine.
that's no big deal.
No, no, no. No, not at all. But a woman does it and it's like, oh no, that's it, hanger.
Right. And I love the argument when I see it, because people are worried about women and birth control, and like the guys who attack abortion rates and stuff. And it's like, a woman can have a baby every 9 months. A man can have a baby every single day for a year. Like,
Yeah,
he can
pretty
just
much.
keep throwing them out there.
And it's
So
fine.
whose organs do we really need to look out for?
A
Like, why
man.
don't we trap them? Why don't we figure
Exactly.
them out? Like,
No, it's
find
always
something that cuts them off, not
no,
us.
it's always the women. It always comes back to us.
It's
I
always
mean,
our
it's
fault.
also just like a man walks away from his child and it's fine, right? Let a woman abandon her kid and she's the worst person in the world.
I had that. So my oldest, when me and her dad got divorced, well, what we were doing is I would watch her during the day, and then I worked nights. So she would go and stay at his house, and she would sleep at his house. So we had a good thing going on. So we didn't really have to argue about custody or anything at all. Well, then I got
Perfect.
pregnant, and I knew I needed to go home. And at the time we were living in Alaska. And
Oh,
so
geez.
you have 1 year from the date of separation from your partner for the military to send you back to your home of record. And I was getting near the end of that. So I was pregnant and I needed to go home and get set up. And so I said, Kayla can stay with you, right, until I get set. Well, then, I had the middle baby, and I, got set. But now I'm working all these hours, and I've got the baby, and I'm working 2 jobs, and I'm barely staying afloat. And Kayla came to live with me, and she was miserable. She missed her
Oh,
dad. She missed her stepmom. She missed her dog. She missed, you know, being with a family. I mean, she was at the babysitters all the time, and she was really acting out. And, finally one day I just called my ex-husband, and I'm like, can Kayla come live with you? Because I can't. I'm not doing a good job. Like, she's always in daycare, and when she's here, she's angry. She misses you. She cries for you. Can she come live with you? And him and his wife were just in tears. They were like, yes, absolutely. We miss her. We love her. We'll do whatever we need to do to make sure that you feel like you're still in her life. And they had moved from Alaska to Georgia. So I brought her down to Georgia, and then I came back. And so she wound up staying with them for, I don't know, from the age of 4 until 15 or 16, when she
okay.
came back to live with me. And you would not believe how many people I would be talking to, and they would say something like, any mom that doesn't have custody of their kids is a piece of shit. And I would
See?
say, first of all, it could be what's best for the child. Why do we always assume the
Exactly.
mom is the best choice?
That's always
Like,
an assumption. I don't know why. I really
right.
never understood that. You did what was good for your child.
Right. And that's really what it was. Was it easier for me? Certainly. It was easier for me to not always need to be worried about her being in daycare and whatever, but I didn't want her in daycare all the time. But also I was a single mother with 2 kids. So
That's a
I
lot.
always had to be working.
Yes, that's a lot to deal with.
And so there was a completely logical, acceptable, safe alternative for her. And I remember having an argument with a guy in a bar one night, or I don't even know if it wasn't an argument, it was a talk. And he's like, any mom that doesn't have, custody of their kids is a piece of shit. And I'm like, or the mom did what was best for the kid.
Exactly.
Like and I said, my daughter lives with my ex-husband. And he's like, yeah, but don't you miss her? And I said, if she was kidnapped and like gone or dead, yes, I would miss her every minute of every day. But I don't miss her because I know where she is. I can talk to her whenever I want. She, do you miss your kids when they're at school?
No. In fact, I want him to go back to school.
Right. But you know where they are, and you know that they're safe and they're being taken care of and they're happy. So at what point do I just turn around and tell my daughter, well, it doesn't matter that you're happy. You have to come live with me because I'm your mom. Bullshit.
No, that wouldn't have been fair to her. It would have made her miserable. She would have rebelled, and things would have
been
gone
selfish.
Yes. See? But there's that bullshit though, right? It has to be that women abandon their kids. It just can't be what's good for the child. But men do it all the time, and it's fine. It's always going to be okay. Men.
Yeah. Because apparently moms are the only ones who can be nurturing. But I asked her once, because she's 33 now.
Oh.
And I asked her a couple of years ago. There was I can't remember what was going on. But sometimes I feel like I'm more like an aunt than her mom. And she has another mom. Like her other mom was there with her from, I don't know, I think whenever me and her dad got divorced, they met right after that. And then up until they got divorced, she was already living with me at the time. So, but sometimes I feel like I'm more of an aunt than a mom. But I had to ask her, did you ever feel abandoned because you didn't live with me? And she goes, no, why would I? Like she had an intact family unit. She had a mom, she had a dad, she had brothers, she had a dog, she had everything.
Oh yeah, no, she had a good.
She had a
family structure.
Exactly. So, because every now and then I get the mom guilt. I'm like, oh, should I have been there? Should I have been the one who put the tooth under the pillow? Should I? I remember I bring that one up because her dad called one time and he said, Kayla does not believe in the tooth fairy. She thinks you're the tooth fairy. And I'm like, all right, let me talk to her. So she gets on the phone. She goes, are you the tooth fairy? I said, do I look like I have time to fly around the world and put money under people's beds every night? And she goes, no, I guess not. and then your dad gets by on the phone and goes, why didn't I think of that? And I'm like, because I'm smarter than you.
Well, there you go, right? Yes, women are usually smarter than men.
Right. So she would come and visit me, for a month in the summertime, and we would have a great time. And I got to enjoy her for who she was, but I was probably more of an aunt than a mom.
Okay.
But then she moved back in with me when she was 16. And then that was just rough because then we went right from I barely know you to
teenager.
To teenager.
Teenagers suck.
Yeah.
Teenagers
and her
suck.
and my husband did not get along. So that was unpleasant.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah,
that's
it
a
was.
Tough one.
It's better now, but I really feel like what we did for Kayla, letting her live with her dad and her stepmom and everybody else, was the right thing. And it had nothing to do with, I wouldn't let my ego get in the way of what was best for her. And what was best for her was not being in daycare 18 hours a day while I worked 2 jobs.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have been fair to her. You did the right thing. I don't,
right.
people should understand that. It's always what's better for the child. And getting her back as a teenager, though, God bless you. Teenagers suck.
They really do.
All 3 of 14, mine. And before I got involved with my fiance now, I was with someone and I raised their child for 10 years. And teenage life sucked. Harder with a girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was a tough one. A lot of shit going on back then, I would say. Camera phones, right? So we all have now phones with cameras. Sucks. I remember the first time, I went to a phone and I was like, oh, these are nudes. Fantastic. Maybe I should have a conversation with her about why we shouldn't send pictures to people, especially now. Right. I mean, as an adult,
they're going out. They're going viral.
Exactly. As an adult, it's different, right? If I send a nude to my fiance, we're in a relationship, right? I doubt she's going to blast mine on the internet. When you're 14 years old and you're sending out nudes, you should expect that all his friends can see them. or they're going to be on some sort of platform. And I can't keep up with all the platforms these days. But
well, one thing that we could tell them, because they never think about this, you're 14 years old, and if you send him a nude and he has it on his phone and anybody sees it, he can be arrested for child pornography.
so I tell my son that now because he has a friend who tends to send unsolicited dick pics. And listen, I'm like,
if you send it to
friends.
somebody, and their parent finds it, fuck yeah, they're gonna come after you.
Yes, and that's when I told him, I was like, you need to tell your buddy, because I can't tell his friends. They're not my kids, right? I don't want to be that person. But you need to tell your friend, stop sending pictures to girls that don't want them, because when someone screenshots it,
even if they do want them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, when they're young.
Child porn.
Yes, I tell him that all the time, right? Because, he's, like I said, he's 14. He has a girlfriend now. A lot of FaceTime. So I can only imagine what really goes on. Don't want to know.
Right.
But I tell him all the time, like, child pornography goes a long way.
It goes on your record.
Yeah. I push on him consent, right? Consent's like a big thing. I joke around all the time, like, I'm going to get him little flyers and be like, here, have them sign this.
Yeah.
To let me know that they consented to what happens next. It's a new world out there. Like, it's different than when I was growing up. And I tell him this, and I push this. I think I push consent a lot, which I should. I don't need no one's mom coming to me or the cops coming to me that my son did something that their daughter didn't want, even though these girls are a little fast.
Yeah, I actually, my nephew and I were joking around about making t-shirts that said, I require enthusiastic consent to wear to the bar. Right?
There you go. See, that'd be fantastic. That'd be perfect.
Right? I really should make those shirts and on the back have stand-up comedy sex ed.
Oh my God, you should. It's great advertisement.
There was another one we were joking around about. It says, I come with a warning label, and then I'll sell a sex toy that called warning label.
Oh, see, that'd be great.
I would have to create it first, but what a great idea. I just put all the shit on my podcast so people can steal it.
Well, there you go. That's pretty much it, right? You're like, oh, here's something you can think of to doing.
So how old were you when you lost your virginity?
14 years old.
All right. I think I was there. I think I was 13.
I had sex with a girl first and then a boy after, right? I guess I was trying to explore to see what I wanted in life. One, I should have known, I should have been taught that you don't necessarily have to have sex with a boy to have your cherry popped.
Right.
What do you know? A girl can do it.
Yeah.
Freaked out.
Also riding a horse, riding a bicycle.
Somebody should tell you these things. And I remember freaking out because I was like, oh my God, I'm bleeding. Like, do I have my period? Like, oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely my first girlfriend was 14. It's pretty fucking interesting. I knew nothing about women anyway, even though I was a woman. I don't think I really had explored myself like most people have. However, though, I think when I was 11, my mom was married to a man who had kids, and like his daughter and me would fool around. Should have known I was going to be a lesbian, though. Now that I think about it. I probably should have known. But and then I had sex with a male for the first time at 14, and that shit was horrible. I mean, I don't know if it was like his lack of experience. I mean, obviously I wasn't experienced, but it just sucked. It was boring. I had to guide him towards where he needed to go, which seems to be a freaking thing.
Sounds like he was a virgin.
Oh God, I really hope he wasn't, the way he bragged. And he was a friend of mine. That was the reason too. I was like, oh, he's a friend. What's the big deal? After this, we can be friends and call it a day. Well, he then got a little clingy, which I wasn't okay with because I really wasn't into him. I just wanted to lose my virginity at this point. All my friends had slept with boys, and I was like, oh, let me try. It really, really sucked. God, I hope he doesn't listen to this podcast.
Well, and that's kind of the thing. And I feel like it's very important to, talking to kids about sex, because if it's not with somebody that you're into, it's never going to be good. It's never going to be good because you're not going to be lubricated. You're not going to be aroused. You're not going to orgasm. You're just going to be bored because you're like, oh my God, how long is this going to take? And it's important to send the message to your kids that when you are ready,
yes,
and when you feel safe and when you are protected and when you are loved, it will be good.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're just doing it to get rid of it, never going to be good.
It sucked. Yeah. It was one of those things. I was just like, this is what the hell this was the big right. Wow. All the girls were bragging about.
Right.
Yeah, did not enjoy it at all.
When
Had
I
sex a year after and enjoyed it, but with him, it was just,
Yeah. I remember when I lost my virginity, I did it. And again, it was just to get rid of it because,
same.
and it was in between ninth and 10th grade. So, not 100% sure how old I was. I think I think it was 13, but I thought everybody else was having sex. And so I was like, all right, well, I want to be behind the curve. So let me just go ahead and get rid of this. And then I found out that nobody had had sex. And then everybody was asking me like, well, how was it? And I'm like, well, it was horrible.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, it was, I mean, and I'm really angry that forever gets to be the how I lost my virginity story. And I feel like when we're doing sex ed, there should be like some sort of a timeline that says like a bell curve, where people don't feel unusual. So it'll say, okay, like out of 100 people, one had sex at 9, at 11, one had sex at 12, two had sex at 13, four had sex at this, 75 had sex at 16, 17, 18, 19, and then all these numbers here, so that people don't feel like they're that out of the range. So they can see that there's a percent. So like, I don't want to be the 3 out of 100 people,
Seriously.
right? Or you can also, when you get to that big number where a lot of people are losing their virginity, and you're over here at the 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 level, you can still see that you're not the only one.
Pretty much, yeah, that would be nice. But sex ed
So-
teaches you basics that have
Right.
no relevance to everyday life.
Right. I just talked to someone on last week's podcast, and she is a health teacher who teaches how to teach sex ed. And she writes curriculum for school districts on medical-based sex ed practices to teach kids when they go through puberty. So they're teaching them comprehensive, medically based sex ed.
Yes, my son actually knows more about a woman's period than I think he should know. But
Right.
I sat there and was like, where the fuck did you get this from? And he's like,
Right.
oh, our health class. I was like, oh, that's what they're teaching you guys. Great. There's
Well,
so much more
but
you need to
it
learn.
is important because there's
It is.
really nothing worse than as a woman having your period and having everybody freak out about it. Like, or you
Yeah.
bleed through. Like, it's like, it should just be like, fuck. All right, who's got extra tampons or like, it should be a gathering. It shouldn't be like, oh look, she bleeding. Because when I lived in Alaska, I was a waitress at a bar, and one night there was a girl, and she was on the dance floor. She was clearly on her way to being hammered if she wasn't already hammered, and she was wearing a very short white skirt.
Oh, damn.
Like leather, and her period had started, and
Oh.
and I don't know what she was wearing for underpants, but it was coming down her leg. And everybody was sitting there going, oh, like looking at her and pointing at her and chatting with each other. And I was like, and I got up and I went up to her and I whispered in her ear, I'm like, your period has started. It's coming down your leg. Let's go. And she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, let's go. And we just went into the bathroom. That's how women should be taking care of each other. And, or, like whoever she was with, whatever, partners with you, there should have been no pointing and laughing.
No,
it's biologically happening to almost all of us every 28 days.
Pretty
and
much,
at every given moment, half the people in the world are having their period.
Pretty much. It's a natural thing.
So I love that they're teaching boys about it. So it's less scary, less icky, less stigmatizing.
Oh yeah, like he's very knowledgeable about it. In fact, like I'll be in pain. He'll be like, "Oh, you have cramps? Do you want me to get the heating pad?" And I'm dying because he's a 14-year-old boy, and I'm like, "Sure."
That's awesome. He's gonna grow up and be a great partner.
We are raising him to be a good young man. Try to teach him to be a gentleman, and he at his age, I'm pretty shocked about the whole monogamy thing. I mean, he has a girlfriend, and at his age, I wasn't like that. I had multiple girlfriends and boyfriends. I was exploring life.
Right.
That's what I tell people all the time.
Wrong with it.
For years, when it came down to categorizing myself, I guess it was bisexual, even though now there's new terms. There's pansexual and all this stuff I'm trying to keep up with, which is hard. I try, but it's difficult.
Hard for everyone.
Yeah, I can't keep up. And, but for years I was like, oh yeah, I guess I'm bisexual if I had to categorize myself. I think it always came down to, though, just sex, right? I don't I don't necessarily date men. I did date a male as a teenager for years. He turned out gay, actually. I should
So
have
you were
fucking
each
known.
other's beards.
Yeah, pretty much. And like all the signs were there that he was gay, and I just like kept bypassing them because he was actually pretty good in bed. He definitely knew how to eat. Like he was great at oral sex.
Nice.
Should have known he was gay
That
though.
seems like it's something that wouldn't be that they'd be good at. Because I remember what's his name? He used to be on Chelsea Handler all the time. His name was Ross. And he's like, he had a girlfriend one and he went down. He was like, oh, And he's like, and I did it, but I hated it. It's just like,
No, he was that was like his that was his big thing. He was just very good at it. I was shocked actually, especially at our age. I think we started together and he was older than me, so I had to be about 15, he had to be 18. But yeah, years later though, he came out the closet and I was like, oh shit, I had noticed the signs. There were a
Yeah.
lot of signs.
well, there
But
was
it
the
worked
big
out.
one that he was missing is that he was real good at what he was doing.
Yeah, but yeah, but me and him are best friends now. I mean, we get along great, and he'll be at my wedding, but yeah, I probably should have seen the signs. But you know what? We were young, and a lot of it, I guess, was he was hiding his identity. I wasn't. I was bisexual most of my teenage life. I came out to my mom at 14.
And how'd she take that?
Very well. So apparently they knew I was going to be a lesbian. It wasn't shocking. It was one of those things where it was like, oh, we knew. And like I thought my
Like with
grandparents were
Amy.
gonna have it. Like it was like, oh, we knew. Like you've been playing basketball your whole life. You hated wearing a tutu. You cried at at ballet class, and they tried to make me do Girl Scouts. That didn't work. I played basketball, but it was definitely. I thought it was gonna be this big coming out thing, right? I'm coming out, and like it's gonna be fireworks, and everybody's gonna be so excited that I'm finding my truth. And no, everyone was like, oh, we knew. Even my grandparents. Oh, we knew. What the fuck? What do you mean? So much for coming out the closet. All right, guys, I guess no big deal here.
It's like when you come out of the closet and you realize the closet was glass. Right?
Yeah, like
everybody can see you.
The biggest thing was we were waiting for you to figure it out. Well, maybe you guys could have fucking told me. I would have figured it out earlier. I mean,
that's hysterical.
It was great.
Why do they call it coming out of the closet though?
You know what? I still don't know where the term comes from. I should probably Google it. I am bad at this. I don't know where it comes from.
Oh.
But yeah, when I came out, it was like no big deal. And I heard the shit my grandfather would say about gay people growing up, and I always thought like, God, he's gonna hate
me.
Yeah, and no, he was a supporter. He was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, guys, no big deal. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I think that's something that people should realize is just because you say words with your mouth, sometimes to be funny, sometimes whatever, does not mean you hate that group of people. And like I think when I was growing up, faggot was a thing that everybody said. It didn't mean I hated gay people.
No,
it never did.
It's true, and it's so true. Well, we're also in a new world right now.
I wouldn't say it now. Sensitive. Like I would not,
Well, yeah, and my grandfather, I have to remember that he was a man of his times, right? This is what I tell people. People are people of their times, right? So at one point, this was something that people looked at and was like, oh my God.
Right.
Like it's different. But we're in 2021 now. There are terms we apparently can't use, which is hysterical enough. So when I was growing up, you didn't go around calling women dykes. It wasn't a thing. It was offensive. And now it's no big deal, right? These younger lesbians call each other dykes, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm a dyke, and I'm like,
oh, that was like when the bitch thing went through. It was probably before you, but at some point, calling a woman was a bitch was like a super offensive thing, and then for a long time, and then all of a sudden, everybody was like, hey, bitch, what's up? And it never meant anything. And then I remember this because my middle daughter one time had said something, she was like, oh, Becca's a bitch. Like, but she didn't mean Becca's a bitch, right?
Exactly.
But it got back to her mom, and her mom's called, well, how dare your daughter call my daughter a bitch? And I was like, whoa, slow your roll. Don't you watch TV? Like, bitch is common. It doesn't mean what it meant when you were growing up. They're 12, 13 years old. They're just copying what they heard on TV.
It's the new world. People have to get with the times and the lingo. I mean, like I said, I'm still trying to keep up. I just learned about my son came to me to talk to me one day about different genders, and I was like, what the hell are you saying to me?
Right.
I said, I'm confused. I am, I'm trying to
It's
progress. I'm trying to be progressive.
Well, and that's the thing. I try to be very, very progressive because of what I do and who I do it with and etc. But the cancel culture is so strong that
Yes.
it makes it hard. Like, I would love to bring my talk into colleges, but I'm so afraid to say something wrong and get canceled that I'm not even, like, I told my business coach today, I'm like, I don't want to go to colleges. I don't want to deal with that group. I don't want to deal with a group that is so upset that, like, if their president doesn't get in, they cry. Like, they're just, everybody's angry, everybody's upset. There was a popular singer that was supposed to come to UConn, where my daughter goes to school, and he had been accused of some sort of sexual misconduct. Now, there was no proving it. It was just an accusation, but a group of students fought to get him kicked off not come. So he was already in Connecticut, and they pulled it and said he couldn't be on stage. So did they win? No, because they still had to pay him $300,000 because it was in their concert.
No, that's a lot of money.
It was in their contract. So if you're upset by it, don't go to the fucking concert.
Exactly. That's it.
I'm still pissed at Chris Brown for punching
Rihanna.
Right? Do I want to listen to his music? No. Do I sometimes find myself singing along to That's How Many Fucks I Give? Yes. God damn it.
Of course.
But why wasn't he? I don't understand. Why wasn't he canceled?
It was different back then. Now it's, like you said, it's cancel culture. You now forget about it. Everybody's home and everyone's on social media.
So I'm never going to spend money on a Chris Brown something or other. But if it happens to be on the radio, and now the cancel culture with J.K. Rowling, because they say that she's transphobic, which I 1000% disagree with.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, people say things without thinking, and they try to cancel everyone. For a while, people were like, why do you eat at Chick-fil-A? They don't like gay people. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
They're not religious. Open on Sundays.
They're allowed to be religious, right? They think that's their belief. Who am I to say different? All the owner said was that he feels that a man and woman is what a real family and marriage is. Okay, well, that's his opinion.
Right.
Why would I go and not eat good chicken?
Right.
Because of his beliefs.
That's how I feel. Plus, they walk the walk. Like, if they were open on Sundays and they had this anti-gay thing, I would be like, hypocrites. But they're closed on Sunday because they believe that the Sabbath is holy. So yes, obviously they do not agree with gay culture. Do I agree with them? No, I do not. Do I like their chicken? Yes, I do.
So do I.
Am I going to keep eating there? Yes, I am.
Me too. And that's how I feel. I'm like, I can't cancel eating at places or cancel shopping at places because of someone's beliefs. We all have our own beliefs.
The other thing I don't agree with is, and I've always said this about boycotts, but it kind of works with cancel culture too. The more you complain about something and the more you put it out in the universe and the more you say, oh my God, did you see what this person said? The more you're advertising for them.
Yes, free advertising goes a long way.
Exactly. There was some donut shop somewhere in like Rhode Island or I don't even remember where it was. And they had said something about that they weren't going to give cops free donuts anymore or something. And then it blew up and everybody was like, I will never shop. I will never. And they kept sharing it and kept sharing it and kept sharing it. I guarantee you that company has a bigger business now because once people forget why they were angry, they'd be like, oh, I've heard of that donut store before. And they're going to go in. Plus all the people who had never heard of them before, who believe in what they said, went there automatically to support them.
See?
You don't take anybody down with a boycott.
No, you don't actually. You give them free advertising and they make more money.
Exactly.
Well,
like, what was it the thing like, I think it was Ivanka Trump said something about, Goya had said, I don't remember the thing with the Goya and the Ivanka Trump thing, but here's the thing. Did I even have an inkling what Goya was before the argument? No.
Probably not.
Do I know who they are now? Yes.
Yeah.
So it was free advertising.
Yes, I remember that Goya thing. Everybody was like, oh, I'm boycotting Goya. They're Trump supporters. And I'm like, so because they're a Latin company, they can't be a Trump supporter. You guys are idiots. Like, everybody's an idiot. I'm still going to go get my Goya seasoning, sorry, because I'm Hispanic and I need it for my Spanish food. People are ridiculous. I scroll through the internet sometimes. I'm like, oh God, help us all. We're fucked.
Right. the My Pillow guy is getting tons and tons and tons of advertising
I
off of
happen
the
to work for
people
one of the companies who pulled him, and I'm so baffled by it. Between I can't understand it. So we pulled this, but yet we allow certain shirts to be sold. Come on, guys. The
right.
catch-22 here, and I think that if
I
we're
mean,
gonna
I'm not
play,
going to buy a My Pillow because I just think they're crappy pillows.
oh, they're
but-
shit, they're garbage. Let me tell you, I've tried them, they're horrible. But like, I feel like if we're gonna do one thing, we should keep to the other, right? So then let's keep politics out of business in general, and we won't have this problem.
Right. My son-in-law loves his My Pillow. Actually, I think maybe it's my daughter who likes the My Pillow. I like the ones that memory foam pillows. Those I like.
We have a lot of my fiance and me, we go through a lot of different pillows. She's buying $50 pillows, and she's like, "Oh, I don't like them," and I'm like, "Well, they're $50, so either you're gonna use the fucking pillow." You have to sleep on it 8 hours a night. You'll be fine. They're expensive. I don't want to hear it.
Well, get them at Kohl's when there's a 30% off coupon. That's how I buy pillows.
I happen to work for them. I get more than the 30. That's my company.
Oh, so they don't sell the My Pillow.
No, they pulled it. They did pull it. In fact, there was a whole meeting about like My Pillow and how you can't wear like nothing political anymore. No more BLM masks. No more Trump supported shirts. And I was like, well, that should have been the thing from the beginning, but
Right, it really
I'm on
should
my
have been.
business. I'm on my
Right.
business.
It's just so silly. Like, no, you don't bring your personal beliefs into work.
No.
Like there was, okay, because I heard something the other day. I was looking at, it was somebody else's post, and it said, well, I won't stay at Marriott anymore because they don't like Republicans and conservative people. And I was like, wait, what? So then I remember thinking about it, and it was like 2 years ago, one Marriott somewhere in, I have no idea where, there was either a Trump rally or some sort of conservative something. And the manager put a sign up that said, like, we don't want you here or something. But that's one manager of one Marriott who probably got fired.
Yes, I read that. Yeah, definitely got fired after that. That was bad.
Right. So you can't blame an entire chain for the thing that one person does, unless the person at the top comes out and says, I'm the CEO of Marriott and I don't want Republicans in my, and nobody would ever do that.
No,
shut the fuck
that'll
up.
That'll kill the clientele base. No, you can't do that.
Right.
People are, no.
Right. And I'm like, now this one idiot remembers that one manager somewhere said something. And I'm just like, and you are the problem with America.
Yes. And it's fucking internet. Everybody has access to the internet. People repost the craziest things.
They really do.
Can't we just
I unfollow
funny
so
memes?
Many people.
Yeah, can't we just post funny memes and things about sex? I'd be happy if that's all I got to see on the internet.
Exactly. Bernie memes and things about sex.
That was actually, those Bernie memes were fucking hysterical. Yes, and things about
hysterical. Sex. And it didn't hurt anybody, and it wasn't.
No.
And then I saw one person was like, these Bernie memes are disrespectful. And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
But see, that's because we're in a sensitive world. Everybody is sensitive. You can't say shit anymore.
Did you hear what he did?
No. He made the sweatshirt.
He sold them for $45 each and then donated all the money to Vermont Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's a politician I respect. Do I like his politics? Not that much. He's way too socialist for me. But I like that he didn't become a billionaire by being in politics, and he takes care of his people.
Yes, which is fantastic.
He practices what he preaches, and I respect that.
That was smart with the meme. That thing went viral. In fact, I was confused for a while when I was scrolling through the internet. I was like, what's with all the memes? And then I was like, got it.
That's like with the T one. What was the T one that just went around? Where the guy smashed it into the other guy's head?
The Twisted T. I finally seen the video for that.
Yeah, it was funny because I kept seeing all of these memes and I'm like, and so when I Google, I'm like, what's with the Twisted T memes? And then I found the video and I'm like, yes, that's amazing.
That's what I do. Thank the heavens for Google. I'm able to Google everything nowadays.
I used to want to make at some point I wanted to make, there was no way for me to make that sentence right. At some point I wanted to make a t-shirt that said Googleness is next to godliness. Because if people would ask me questions all the time and I would just Google the answers and then be like, you're so smart. And I'm like, because I know how to search.
Yeah, seriously, because I know how to use a search engine.
Exactly. I just know how to report that. We didn't actually talk that much about sex.
I was just going to say that too.
Sometimes it's just about having fun and just talking to people. Let's see. Do I have any more nosy questions? Do you have a funny sex story?
You know what? Probably. So, not yes, a couple weeks ago, right? We're in the room, and I told you we have a 14-year-old son, so sometimes it gets a little difficult to have sex. Oh, we also adopted a dog who tends to fucking sleep on our bed, so he gets in between us during sex. It's hysterical when he watches us. So I have restraints that come from under the bed, right? So I have her tied up, have her blindfolded, and doing our thing, and all of a sudden I get a light knock at the door. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So like I go to her and I'm like, shh, don't say anything. I'm just gonna act like we're sleeping. Then I get another light knock at the door. Still quiet. My son eventually walks away from the door. He fucking calls me on my phone, okay? you shithead. He's like, did you know you locked the dog out of the room? You know what? Are you kidding me? Like, it's first of all, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Why are you even out of your room? Suddenly, like, and now, we're just in the middle of this right now. I got to start over with the foreplay because now everything is different. Had her quiet. She's all fucking blindfolded, and I couldn't open the door because I couldn't even hide her if I tried. I could not, all because we locked the dog out of the room. I was so like, this is just not the way to go.
I just don't understand why you didn't say we're having sex. Go away.
I thought about it. I really did. Just like yesterday, I was actually on a website looking at sex toys, right? Because we have a lot, right? I mean, this is what we do. And
we're on my website. Go to my website.
I'm gonna have to go to yours. And I'm scrolling, and he walks in the room, and me not thinking like he's gonna walk towards my tablet, right? Because the fuck do you want, right? Here he comes, and he walks over. He's like, "Oh, I want to know if I could use your Surface." And like he looks down, and he was like, "Guess not," and then like walks out. So she's sitting there. She's like, "Why wouldn't you X out the tab?" And I'm like, "Well, who the fuck walks to their parents' computer while they're on their computer?"
Right.
Dude, you're gonna see shit. I mean, this is what it is. He tends to go to our room a lot. I have my little bullet in my nightstand. I'm not hiding it.
Right.
Okay, I'm not hiding it. It is what it is. I have restraints under our mattress, right? If he happens to see one sticking out,
too bad.
It happens.
You learned.
Yeah.
Don't go in your parents' room if you don't want to see shit.
We have a nephew. He's 6 years old, and he's always hiding in our closet. And I told his father one day, right? I was like, listen, he's gonna pull out that fucking Nike duffel bag, and you guys are gonna die. you guys are gonna die. He's gonna walk down the stairs with something he shouldn't. May it be like the nipple clamps, the dildos, the floggers. He's gonna walk down the stairs.
Look, I found Daddy's razors.
You have to keep your child out of my closet before he pulls out something that you guys don't want to see at all. I mean, we have, which I guess is also why our sex is so great. Like I had an ex that I spent 10 years with, and after 2 years, the sex died. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was her or me. But it died. It was boring. We didn't do anything. We didn't own any toys. And it sucked. And I spent 10 years with her, okay? It was kind of hell on wheels. But then I got involved with my fiance now, and the sex has been fantastic, right? We have a bunch of toys. We shop. In fact, Valentine's Day is coming up. She was just shopping again.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you my website.
Yes, please do, because we buy a lot of toys. It's a thing. We buy a lot of toys, right? I have from nipple clamps, dildos. Like one of my favorites is I guess it's like a flogger. The other end of it is a glass handle, which I didn't realize you can cool down glass till I heard your podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, why didn't I think of this? Cool, hot. Why didn't this cross my mind? The things you learn.
By the way, for anybody who's listening, if you go to standupcomedysexed.com, there is a shopping link that will bring you to my shopping page.
Oh, I'm going to have to click it. Yeah, no, I'm going to have to click it. I remember I was listening to your podcast, came home, was like, babe, we need to look at what kind of lubricant we have.
Yeah.
There's different lubricants for different things. And I don't know, I buy one. I mean, it says lube. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll buy it and let's see if it works. Which is also, I heard you guys talk about lubricants and friction. And I remember having sex when I was younger and was like, that's why that shit hurt.
Right. You aren't properly lubricated.
I didn't start using lubricant till a few years ago, which is bad.
I started using it at 38 because that's when I heard about it. And to me, that's just disgusting. Like, how did I go that mmany years without knowing about just being uncomfortable, just being like, God, I wish it was hurry up.
Yes. Oops, sorry, dog.
Oh,
Sit
hey,
up.
puppy.
He comes.
Is that the
he's
one that
really
gets
cute.
on the bed?
Yes, it's very weird. And then she gets weirded out, like, and she's like, "Babe, the dog's staring at us," and I'm like, "Well, he's not a fucking child, so
Yeah.
he can't tell anybody."
I have a no pet in the room rule. I've always had a no pet I have a very light sleeper, unless I'm the one snoring, in which case you can't wake me up. But the cat starts licking himself in the middle of the night, I'm like, find that thing and murder it. So no cats, no dogs, no nothing. And it is hard to train them to stay the fuck out of your room, but
well, yes, and he has abandonment issues. We got him from a shelter. So he always thinks we're going to leave him, which the one time I kicked him out of the room and went to have sex, my son knocked on the fucking door. So.
Probably because he went down to your son's room and it was like, hey, I'm locked out. Can you help me out, bro?
Interrupting. Like, the dog's such a pain in the ass.
Yes.
But you know what, though? I work around dogs. See, the dog won't throw me off. I'll still get mine. I mean, I'll still orgasm. He can stare at me all he wants. He can't repeat any of this. Who's he going to tell? His doggy friends? Like, I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine.
Speaking of the doggy friends, this is probably going to be a different answer than I normally get, but what's your favorite position?
You know what?
And are your positions different?
No, they're not, because so we definitely play a lot with a strap on. So just like most people, doggy style is one of the best positions.
There we go.
You hit more. Even though I'm a lesbian, I don't scissor. I've never been into scissoring. It's not my thing. I don't see the point of rubbing our vaginas together. It's not my thing at all. But doggy style, definitely. I happen to love my strap on, especially since, you can add any size, shape, curve you need. It's great.
All right. And then what's your favorite toy?
Besides my strap on, the rabbit.
Does the strap-on do anything for you, or is it for your partner?
So it's for her, but it also comes with a little pouch with a little vibrator.
Okay.
So I can turn it on, and I actually get to orgasm as well. So it's great. Just have to remember to turn it on.
My company has one that actually goes inside of you, and then is also like, so you can do. It's like a strap-on, but it's strapped on inside your body.
I'm gonna check out your website, because I think that would be interesting for us. I think that would be actually very interesting.
A whole collection. It's called the RGB collection, but that's one that
gonna check that out.
Goes right in there. So yeah, favorite toy. You said, sorry, I got distracted when you said strap on.
Rabbit.
Rabbit.
The rabbit is great. We finally got one a few months ago, and I was like, oh, well, this thing tickles and it plays and it pops and it rotates. It's great.
We have one that just came back. We used to have it a number of years ago. It's called the triple orgasm machine, and it actually has a little thrusting mechanism.
Oh,
so
wow.
It rotates, vibrates. It's got the rabbit on the outside, and it does a little thrusty thing.
So check that out.
Yeah.
Oh, she would love that.
Put that on your Valentine's Day
put that on my
list.
Valentine's list. Yeah, no, we're all into trying new toys. I think we recently just bought like anal beads. Got to find the right lubricant, though. Like I said, listening to your podcast, I've learned that lubricant plays a big part.
Right. I would recommend a silicone lubricant for those.
Okay.
Because your back door has no lubrication at all. So you want something that's going to stay on the surface of the skin and keep everything. You may not enjoy, it's a thing. So some women like anal beads, some do not. Because anal beads are designed to stimulate the prostate gland, and women don't have that.
Yes,
but plugs have the they fill the area and puts pressure on the inside, so it gives you more stimulation.
I think it's also buy one of those as well. You know that I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to check out your site.
It's gonna be like paycheck. Sex toy store.
Seriously, we have a whole freaking duffel bag. It's pretty hysterical. Like Valentine's Day, we're gonna go to Atlantic City for a few days just to get out the house alone. No child, no dog.
Right.
And you pack your stuff, so we have our little luggage, and then
do you bring your restraints?
I bring those. I don't, because they're already hooked under my bed, and I don't wanna. But I do have a Japanese rope, so I will tie her to anything I find. I don't care. I do more of the tying up than actually getting tied up. It's a control thing. I don't like giving up full control. I have let her tie me up on a couple occasions, but it's a control thing for me. I'm a Leo by nature. I'm controlling. It's who I am.
I'm just like, tie me up. That just means I don't have to do anything but enjoy it. So
Well, there you go. I mean, it works out for her. Benefits for her, right? She gets to sit back and
exactly.
enjoy, and I get to do all the work.
I had, I don't even know what stories I've told on this podcast or not, but my husband, one time he'd been gone out of town for a month. He was in Bahrain doing some work, and he stopped at a sex toy store on the way home from the airport and bought restraints, which pissed me off because we sell restraints. Like, I sell restraints. Why are you buying restraints somewhere else? So he comes home and he's like, oh, we're going to do this. And he like ties me up and everything. And at first he tied my legs together and I was like, okay, that's interesting.
That might not work.
That's going to be fun. And then, like we have our fun and then we're cuddling afterwards. And I said, what do you want to do for dinner? And he says, you didn't plan dinner? And I was like, well, I couldn't. I was all tied up.
See, there you go. Good reason not to cook dinner. I think restraints are super fun. Trust, it's a trust thing. You have to trust your partner, and but I do like restraints. Happens to be probably one of my top 5.
I would say the number one sex toy that everybody should invest in is a blindfold.
Yes, we have multiples because we bought one
Yeah.
off some site and it was garbage. It was trash. I mean, you could see through. Like, what's the point of that? I like the whole not being able to see. Right? She doesn't see. She doesn't know what to
Can't
expect.
complain. I tell people, if you've got a partner who's afraid to use sex toys or just is reluctant to or doesn't want to, shot of tequila, get them loosened up because we do more things when we're comfortable.
Well, this is true.
And second thing, blindfold.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like if you want to lead a horse through a gate, you've got to put the blinders on so they don't see it. So if you put the blindfold on, now they're working with sensation and they don't immediately go, oh my God, I don't want that, because they can see it, but they can feel it. And then they're like, oh, okay, that'll work.
This is true. I lucked out though. My fiance's a freak. I think that might be the reason why I'm still around and happy. I got very lucky. She's very open to anything in bed, which is great because comfortability also, right?
Right.
We had the conversation from the beginning. We were friends first, so we've had sex conversations prior, which with my past relationships I didn't do. So getting into bed with them, it was like, shit. Like, can I choke her? Would she not like being choked? Am I gonna make her cry? Can I pull her hair?
That is an awkward thing.
It is, because you don't know what you can do.
Right. But you don't want to ask in advance because, like, all right, so I was doing a party one time and I was talking to this girl and she's like, I just had sex with this guy for the first time and he tried to choke me and I was really uncomfortable and I was like, is he about to murder me? And then she goes, is that a thing? Do people like that? And I was like, girl, yes.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
He maybe shouldn't have done it the first time you got together because you're thinking he's guy's murdering me, but
true.
yeah, no, it's pretty common.
Yes. You know what, though? I did have a woman I was sleeping with and I didn't bring up choking and I choked her one day and she hysterical cried.
Oh, all right.
Well, that'll kill your mood, right?
Yeah, that will. So she was a trigger or something?
It did. So what she didn't tell me was a year prior, she had been choked by someone who she almost passed out from some guy in the street. Well, that'd have been nice to bring up prior, right. But yeah, I definitely felt very bad. It took months to work her up to the being choked by me, knowing that, like, I'm not gonna hurt you. You could tap me to stop, I'll stop.
Right. It was funny. My I wouldn't have. So my ex-husband had a thing where when he got angry, he was good for the little choke there. And so one of my stand-up jokes is, if you could have just figured out I like being choked in the bedroom and not in the kitchen, we probably would have lasted a lot longer.
There you go.
Right? But then the next guy that I dated after him, one day we were sitting, he was in a race car driving, and we were sitting at the races, and I was, like on his lap between his legs kind of thing. And he was just kind of playing with my neck. Well, then the cars came at where we were sitting, and he literally just picked me up by my neck and just rotated our bodies so that I wouldn't get like the impact. Not the impact, it wasn't going to hit me, but when it hits, there's metal and there's dirt and there's debris that fly up into the stands. And I remember just thinking to myself, wow, I was sexy as fuck.
Yeah,
Right?
see?
Like, I
There
mean,
you
one,
go.
he saved my life, but
Yeah.
damn.
But he did it while
Right?
choking me, so it's even better now.
Yeah.
That's
So
actually great.
that's a little thing that I don't not enjoy. Let's put it
Yeah,
that
see,
way.
it's fun. It's good, you know, as long as you trust your partner, know they're not a
Right.
dick, and you know,
Know that they're not angry at you and trying to kill you. So
yes, that plays a big part. Knowing they're not angry. Yeah, I definitely learned though after that incident with her that I should probably ask women in conversation, like,
right.
"Hey, are you okay being choked in the bedroom?"
Right.
So having, you know, people just fill out a questionnaire. So do you like this? Do you like that?
Yes. And then sign enthusiastic consent at the bottom.
Yes. And it's funny too because with my fiance, when we first started hooking up, I did send her like an array of questions, just getting to know each other, and I made sure,
Like
like,
a
you know,
50 Shades of Grey list.
yeah, hey, I mean, is this okay? Is that okay? You know, is anal okay? And what do you know? I don't think there was a no in the fucking list.
Nice.
Yeah, not one no. It was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
I'm
but
glad
yeah.
that you were open.
Oh yeah.
Well, we just hit an hour, a little
Oh.
past an hour. This is a good
Oh,
conversation. I hope other people enjoy listening to it.
so,
Is there anything else that you want to say before I wrap up?
no, I think that's pretty much it. You know, we touched on a few things.
Yeah, we talked about good sex. We didn't talk about bad sex.
I mean, you know, like I said, I had the incident with the choking. That was bad. My first
That was bad. Oh, you're
my
very
first was
first. Yeah.
horrible. He was
Yep.
horrible.
Yeah, just don't share the podcast with him, and he'll never know that's what happened.
Pretty much, I'll make sure I don't share. Seeing that we are friends on Facebook, I won't share. I won't share it with him specifically. You know, we're still friends. He might be like, "Wow, bitch, that was that bad." I mean, you kind of
probably
turned me off,
knows.
buddy.
He
I
probably
think
knows.
he has to know.
You're not the one who broke. He's not the one who broke you. You already knew you were into girls before him. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. I was just giving it a whirl, and I gave it a whirl a few more times with men. You know, I kept trying, but it's just can't stay wet.
My very first boyfriend came out as gay after, like significant, like way after. Like he was my boyfriend in 5th grade. Like I think the most we ever did was hold hands, and then I didn't know he was gay until college.
Oh,
and we were I don't know how out he was, because I didn't know when we went to the same high school, and we were in college, and I don't remember what the joke was, but I said, "What's the matter, Jimmy? You gay or something?" And then later on he called me and he's like, in case you missed it, I am gay. And I was just like, I definitely missed that. I am so sorry.
You missed the mark there. Shit.
Yeah, right. And yeah, he was a good guy. He took his own life several years ago, but
damn.
I liked him. He was just a really nice guy. I'm sorry, whatever he had went through. That's very sad.
Probably going, I was say probably going through some things that happens.
Yeah. So, well, way to bring a podcast down, Ray.
No, not at all. Yeah.
All right. So you can, Alyssa is going to remain anonymous, which we sometimes do here. But you can find me on Instagram at Stand Up Comedy Sex Ed. My website, standupcomedysexed.com, which you can also order from. I guess I forget to say that, but yeah, you can order right from there. And then also RayleneTaskoski.com if you're looking for a great speaker for your event. I've set up a Facebook group just for this podcast so you can participate in polls, ask questions, politely share an alternate point of view, and generally let us know what you think of the episode. So search for Stand Up Comedy Sex Ed Podcast on Facebook. Please subscribe to the podcast, share with your friends, and leave comments. All right. If you leave a comment and I see it and it's funny, I will read it. Or if you want to privately comment and tell me how much you're enjoying my podcast, that'll keep me going and I'll just keep finding fun people to talk to. Actually, I don't have my list right here, but if you know somebody who writes erotica, knows anything about imperforate hymens, is an adult man who had a circumcision as an adult, or there's one more. Oh, somebody who's a sex worker, either in person or porn or phone sex. I would love to interview them on my podcast. So if anybody's still listening at this point, because I think probably as soon as I get to the you can find me on Instagram, probably everybody just finishes. I should start adding this to the beginning. But anyway, thank you, Alyssa, for coming on my show. It was really nice talking to you. It was nice getting to know you.
Definitely. You too. It was definitely fun. It
All
was
right.
interesting.
Bye.
Bye.